Tom, are you okay?
I lost her.
Her?
She was going to be this epic, trilogy-worthy character. I was going to be the hottest writer in Hollywood. But I can't get past Act 1!
You need some writers group therapy. Hello and welcome to Writers Group Therapy.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Roshni. We're writers helping writers. Are you ready for your session? The doctors are in. Okay, so I'm so jealous because I was still overseas and I have not been yet. You got to go to WonderCon. And it
Yes.
seems like everybody went. How was it?
It was very fun. I went with Adam Pineless from our writers group, who has been on the podcast before, and Bill Watson, who's also a member of the writers group, who's I'm working with on his Plan P from Outer Space puppet version of Plan 9 from Outer Space. And we had a great time. We networked. We talked to a lot of people. We made some connections that'll help us in a lot of different ways.
Did you
Um,
cosplay?
I did not cosplay. Adam has a wonderful handmade Ghostbusters costume that he wore, and he disappeared for a couple hours, and I'm sure he was just out by the fountain in front of the convention center taking pictures with people. They
Oh,
did like a
fun.
group Ghostbuster photo. I'm sure he's in that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I did. I don't cosplay anymore. I wore my Iron Man T-shirt. That's as far as I go. It's just a Iron Man symbol, that kind of thing. It glows in the dark, though.
So since I've never been, I've heard about it, obviously, and I know it's part of the Comic-Con, like the San Diego Comic-Con family.
Yeah, same
How does it
company.
how does it compare?
It's very similar. It's not nearly as insane. San Diego Comic-Con's like 150,000 people, and I think WonderCon is between 50 and 75,000.
It's growing though, because I think a couple years ago it was a lot smaller, wasn't it? It keeps growing.
Yeah, I've been a few years, and I don't notice. I think it seems about the same to me. I haven't. I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
can't count people like in mass like that. But it's a really nice convention. I like it because it's manageable. It's not the convention center in Anaheim is huge, but it's not as huge as San Diego. You still get a lot of great vendors there. Some great all the studios come out and do their presentations and screenings with the trailers and the panels of the actors and the producers from all the shows. So there's lots of opportunities. The thing I always make sure I go to when I go to this is the inside the writers room panel, where they get a dozen or so working network broadcast, Hulu, whatever streaming show runners there in the panel. And it was bigger than ever this year. Usually it's in a smaller room, but they put it in one of the bigger ballrooms this time. And and they talk about different topics about what it is to work in a studio writers room. And it's really you really get to kind of get a feel for their personalities. We see what they do on TV and in movies, and we see their work, but we don't really get to know them. Maybe you follow them on social media, but even then, here you're listening to them, and you can have an opportunity to ask questions. And after the panel, if they feel like it, they can go out in the hallway outside the ballroom and chat with you. So I've actually met some of them and shared our work with them on occasion.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so that's it's a really great opportunity. And as a professional, I mean, a lot of people show up in costume to do the fun part of it and the fan part of it. But as a professional, it's a good opportunity. And it's so close to LA, it's kind of silly not to go.
Yeah. Do you feel that the focus of it is different? I mean, granted, San Diego Comic Con, I think now the focus is everything, but I know in the beginning it was like, comic books and comic things. And then they started kind of going into like the new action movies and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, WonderCon, that's a very vague name. So what's WonderCon's focus?
It actually is heavily comics. They have a
Okay.
lot of artists in the artist alley areas and the small press areas,
Hmm.
but it's not as there's not the huge areas for a lot of the studios. At Comic Con, the studios actually set up large, booths, displays. It's mostly very comic and fan focused. A lot of toys, a lot of costuming, clubs. There's the Ghostbuster Club. There's the R2D2 Building Club. All there's and literally you can do it in a day and a half. You can do the whole thing. It's not overwhelming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, and it's in Anaheim, so you're right next to Disneyland, so you can have some fun while you're down there if
That's
you
true,
want.
that's true. But you guys did all 3 days, right?
2 days. We were
2
there
days.
Friday
Oh,
and Saturday. So Friday was the lightest day. Obviously, people are kind of getting there for the convention. Saturday and is the busiest day, and Sundays kind of tapers off. Friday was great because it wasn't crowded at all. We could wander the exhibit floor super easy and take our time. Um, Saturday was busier, but still not excessively. At Comic Con, I feel like I'm a sardine swimming in a really cramped, school of sardines trying to get through the exhibit hall there. So people really should try it out because if you haven't been to Comic Con and you're wondering what it's like, WonderCon's a great kind of starter convention. It's still one of the bigger Comic Cons, in the country, but it's very manageable and
yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say, you guys didn't spend the night, right?
We did. We
Oh,
spent the
you
night.
did?
Yeah, we did. It was funny. We stayed at a hotel right down on the street, the main entranceway to the convention center, and we actually I guess it's one of these family type friendly hotels. We actually got a hotel. It was a suite, and we had a bedroom, a queen bed in one room, and then a sofa and bunk beds in the other room.
Oh my gosh.
And so Adam and I took the bunk beds because Bill said he snored. So sorry, Bill. I
Oh,
just
that's
outed your
funny.
snoring.
How much was the hotel, if you don't mind my asking? Was it reasonable? 'Cause I
It was reason. I mean, when you split it three ways, you could have put six
okay.
people in this hotel room because it had a sofa bed, the twin beds, the queen bed. Oh, so you could get like six people in this room easily. So it was, I think, about 250 for the night. I mean, it's kind of expensive because it's a, Comic Con kind of, premium for that weekend. But it included breakfast. They had a nice breakfast at the hotel. So
Ooh. And for getting the hotel, like, did you guys have to book it way in advance? Because I know with Comic-Con, like, basically the minute you buy your tickets in October, you have to book the hotel too.
I don't. I think we only booked it a couple weeks in advance. I was actually surprised there were so many rooms
Mhm.
available. But then again, being in LA, it's in Anaheim, so it's only 45 minutes south. A lot of people could drive down there and drive home. They wouldn't have to spend the night.
So you don't think it brings the number? Because, like, San Diego brings people from, like, around the world. So you don't think this was more just, like, LA people going kinda thing?
Now there were people from all over the world, but I think it's more domestic.
Mm.
Um, so I don't think it's people for Comic Con San Diego. They literally are packing every hotel room because there's so much more going on. It's a longer convention. WonderCon's only 3 days, whereas Comic Con's a week or like 6 days, I guess. Wednesday night previews through I think Monday it goes
Yeah,
usually.
like Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, and so it's a longer convention, and there's so much more to see because it's so much bigger that people have to, and some of the hotels actually do require this for WonderCon too. They make you book at least like 3 nights. This hotel did not though, because they figure if someone's coming for the whole event, then they're going to want to book. They want to fill that room for all like at least the weekend for the 3 nights because if they only book it for 1 or 2 nights, then it's hard to find someone who only needs it for one night, like on a Sunday night or something.
Yeah.
So they usually will make you book it for 3, maybe even 4 nights, or they'll charge you a lot more for booking a shorter time. But this hotel at WonderCon, it was no problem just to book it for the one night.
So that's way different than Comic-Con.
Yeah, and we booked a Airbnb for Comic Con last summer, and it was really expensive, and we had like 6 people in there,
Yeah.
and it was way more expensive than this hotel at WonderCon.
Yeah, and for that one too, that Airbnb, my sister, I think, had to book it months in advance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with
Mhm.
Comic-Con, you cannot wait.
Mhm. What else did we do? So we met some people there for we met someone from WhedonCon, which is here in LA
Oh,
in June. And we're looking at possibly doing a panel there for Plan P from Outer Space. So that's pretty cool. And then we met some other podcasters that we might be doing interviews with. And I think Bill even met somebody who was going to help us find a good venue here in LA for the actual production. So it was really a really worthwhile adventure we went on, talking about project we're working on,
mhm.
and just getting out and meeting artists and stuff. I actually met some cool artists that I'm going to be reaching out to that I actually want to have on the podcast at some point because they're doing some really cool stuff.
Mhm. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, obviously you guys had comp tickets, so but how much is WonderCon, do you know?
Gosh, I think if you wanted to buy a ticket, they're not that expensive. They used to be like $20 for just a day at WonderCon, versus like a guest pass for uh, Comic Con is like over $200 now. You can't get free guest passes for Comic Con anymore, but
Yeah.
I got free passes for a couple people for WonderCon.
But so I mean, but you don't know the going price now for it?
I don't know the actual price if you bought the tickets to
Mm,
WonderCon.
okay.
No, last time I think I looked to buy them, I think they were only like $20 for a day. It wasn't that much.
So
So
that's, yeah, totally reasonable.
completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the only other, con I've been to in the area, and the name of it's changed. It used to be Stanley's Kamikaze, and I think now it's called LA Comic-Con or something,
Uh
right?
huh.
Yeah, they changed the name. I can't remember quite what it is. But, I remember I think I went the second year it was in existence, and it was so quiet and, like, nobody was there. It was so easy to maneuver, and now it's huge.
Hmm.
It's like, what, 5 or 6 years later, and it's a big convention
Yeah.
also.
Last year they changed the name to LA Comic Con because they had that falling out with Stan Lee, and then of course he passed away. But
Oh, I didn't know that's why they changed it. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they had some issues. I mean, it's still a good convention, but it's interesting. Just the Comic Con name in general. There was a lawsuit last year that there's a Utah Comic Con, I believe. They got sued
Mhm.
by the Comic Con, company, because they
Mm,
felt that they had branded that Comic Con, name enough to warrant controlling it, and they won. So legally, all the Comic Cons in the world, except for WonderCon and Comic Con, have to change their names. You can call yourself a comic convention because that's generic. That's just a description. But you
mhm.
can't use the term Comic Con. You can't put K's in there to make it different. You have to come up with another name.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know how fast and how hard Comic Con's going to pursue that, but LA Comic Con's going to have to change their name.
Wow.
Yeah. The exciting world of Comic Cons, or comic conventions.
Thank you for that overview. So, for all the rest of us like me who missed it, now I know what I missed and what I can look forward to next year. So, and how about for all of you? Have you gone to WonderCon? And let us know. Weigh in. Where you can find us online at WG Therapy. You can also find us at writersgrouptherapy.com. And if you like what you hear, subscribe and share it with your friends. We'll see you next week.